So you're probably wondering, what happened last week? I'll tell you right now. Thank you so much for coming back and watching me this week. So you were probably asking, where was my episode last week? What happened? All right, so I got sick, and that's why there was no episode. Usually I try to get ahead of things a little bit and not be up against the deadline of getting an episode out. Well, last weekend I got home and I crashed. I had been dealing with a cold and I just completely crashed, and I was done. In fact, that night and the next morning I slept 12 hours straight. So yeah, it was quite amazing. Anyway, so I'm back on track for this week. I'll do my best to stay on track, and I'm not expecting to get sick anymore. Kind of along those lines, it leads into what I'm going to talk about. We've been sick a lot in our house this winter. I've gotten sick a lot. Had the flu at one point, and I think this is my third cold that I've had this season. And part of it is because there's lots of things coming in from school, from my kids, or possibly from the daycare at the gym that my wife takes them to. There's a variety of things, and because my kids have not regularly been in school, we've homeschooled for a long time, I'm picking everything up. This is the same thing that happened to me when my daughter was in daycare for the very first time. I picked up every illness that went into daycare for that entire winter, and I was sick constantly. But that's only part of it. The other part of it for me is I've actually been really stressed. Got a lot of stress going on this year, and in particular work has really stressed me out. There has been a lot of pressure to get things done, as well as other external factors that have really stressed me out to no end. So it's interesting. I've actually been listening to a book called Extreme Ownership by Jacko, Willink, and Leif Babin. And they are former Navy SEALs, and they served in Iraq together in 2006 at the Battle of Ramadi. And they've taken a lot of these experiences and they've translated them over into the business and personal world, where you can take that and use it however you want. And it's a very fascinating listen, how they share the battles that they dealt with and the strategic situations that they had to face, and how they've been able to apply that to their consulting business with their business clients. And in particular, in chapter 11, what I was very fascinated in was kind of the decision-making process, where when you're in chaos, what do you do? I mean, there's going to be situations where you're just bombarded with so many different things, you don't know what to do. And that's exactly how my work situation's been. I come home the last several weeks and I have been venting to my poor wife, who has been wonderful to listen to everything that I've been telling her. And she's been very supportive of it. And but I can't keep doing that to her, because eventually she's going to break and get really stressed out over it. And so I've got to do something. So in the book, some of the points that I picked up from that chapter was, you can't decide not to decide. This is something that I have done many times before, where I would just simply say, you know what, I don't want to decide this right now. I'm going to kick the can down the road and deal with it another time. That's not an answer. You have to act decisively in chaos. And the one thing that Jacko and Leif shared was the default setting that they had was to be aggressive. You should be aggressive, proactive, not reactive. And then use that, because it's very critical to success. I've always talked about this whenever I've been a manager before, being proactive instead of reactive. And whenever things get stressed, I fell into the typical, almost victim type of situation, where I just allowed things to just kind of collapse for me. And I had forgotten a little bit of this. So I actually had a very brief moment to talk to my coworker about this. And we were getting into this complain mode, and I immediately kind of did a timeout and said, instead of letting the situation dictate our decisions, we have to dictate the situation. And specifically what I said to him was, we can complain about this all day long, or we can do something about it. We can dictate how this situation is going to go. We can take ownership. And that's the message I want to send to you today. Own it. Take ownership. Don't sit indecisively to decide later. Just decide. Don't decide to decide at another time. Decide now. Be proactive. Take action now. Instead of letting the situation dictate your decision, you have to dictate the situation. Take control of it. And like I said, I almost fell into that victim mode. That's exactly what happens. It takes away that ability for us to be able to be proactive. We become reactive. In order to be proactive, you have to take control and you have to own it. And then you can actually make progress. Everyone, I recommend this book. It's actually really good. It's definitely the Navy SEAL. I like it. Women may not be so into it as much, but it's great actually for business applications as well as for personal. You can really pick up a lot of great stuff out of this book. So I highly recommend it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Promise, I'll try to keep up on my episodes. I'm not going to promise I won't get sick. Next time you might see me with a tissue or something, but anyway, thank you for watching, and hey, subscribe. Don't forget, there's a subscribe button and the bell down below. Don't forget that too. And hey, there's another episode over there. Make sure to check out that episode and come back next week and watch my next episode. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you later.